Hi, I'm Sean Etchen, and I'm the Flexographic instructor here at Dunwoody College of Technology. Today we're going to be talking about press setup. Now we're going to cover die installation on a Mark Andy 2200. The first thing we're going to do is remove the bridge. Now we're going to take the die out. When dealing with dies, you want to remove all jewelry because they are fragile. Pull the die out of the box and set it on a bed of rags so it's not damaged. We will now take the square bearing block and put it on the gear side of the die with the flanges facing towards the die, just like this. We will then lift the die up and place it into the slot milled into the gear side of the press. Now that it's in, press the die all the way to the gear side, make sure the gears are meshed, and take your finger and feel the back side of the two gears to make sure they are flush. If they are not flush, you need to add or remove washers on the journal of the die. These are flush. Now, take the next bearing block that has the curved edges and put it on the operator's side of the press, of the die. Make sure there is text, and you want to pay attention to the arrow and the rotation of the die. Slip it onto the journal of the die and rotate it. Make sure the die does not wiggle from side to side. Now, using a little bit of oil, we want to put a drop of oil on the hole in the bearing blocks. Just a drop on both sides. Careful not to hit the die with the can of oil. We also need to position our bearer wipers and lubricate them as well. We then take the truck, put it on top of the die. We want to chuck the wheels on the truck to make sure they were riding on the bearers of the die and not on the gear. Good. Now, install the bridge. Make sure to finger tighten the screws on both the operator and the gear side. Just finger tight, there's no need for a wrench. Take the pressure jacks and put them through the bridge. Now, be careful not to hit the die when you're installing them. Push them over. And tighten them until they're just barely touching the bridge. Now we will strip the waste matrix. We need to idle the press so we can get some die cut samples to this area of the press. Do that by pressing the white button and holding it. I'm looking at the die cut, and I'm removing a die cut sample, and I can see it's tearing. That means there's not enough pressure. So I need to go to my pressure screws here and add just a little bit more pressure. Yet again, I need just a little bit more pressure. Go ahead and put a little bit of pressure on there. And mark the web with a Sharpie so you know where the new pressure starts. As soon as the label removes completely, check the others. This is a 4-up die, so I want to make sure all 4 cavities are correctly cutting. And they are. Now, carefully remove the face stock. Don't poke a nail through the liner or you'll have a web break. All right. At this point, you'll want to take a sheet of paper and attach it to the waste matrix rewind core up here. Tape it to the core, inflate the core, wrap it around, and tape it. Now, separate the face stock from the liner. And jog the press. Turn on the waste matrix rewind pressure by turning that toggle switch on. And idle the press, making sure that all of the labels are being removed. At this point, you may need to adjust your pressures of the capstand or the waste matrix to assure that your waste matrix strips properly. You want a droopy ladder right where it removes. That's what you're looking for right there. Now move your slitters so they're 1/8 of an inch outside of the die cut label. Turn your slitter pressure on, and yet again, jog the press. Inflate the lower rewind core. Remove the portion that is being slid off on both sides. And tape it to the core. Allow a few wraps to go around the lower rewind shaft. And turn on the lower rewind tension.